Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here this morning. Just to give you a little bit of my backstory, I've been involved in the Liberty Movement for over 10 years, involved in the Tea Party, several different groups, and Michigan Conservative Coalition, some events with Michigan Conservative Union, and I also host this Patriot Breakfast in Caledonia. We started it to support a restaurant owner who opened in defiance of the governor. And we knew we definitely had to support him and his small family-owned business. I've always been rebellious in nature. I'm the direct descendant of 18 Continental soldiers and a cousin to Samuel Adams. So when the governor shut down our state, it was my calling and my duty to rebel. You can go ahead and start the video. This is Operation Haircut.
Angela's phone. I didn't tag anybody because I don't know how to work her Facebook account. So I just wanted to give you a view up to give you a little bit of an update. We have more stylists here. I'll show Angela, we'll show some more of the haircuts. This is our newest gentleman. I think this is number 5 or number 6 for us today. She's been doing really good, knocking them out. If you look at the line, it's absolutely ridiculous. So we're grateful for them. There we go, that's better. And we're going to take a ride here and show you exactly what we're looking at here as far as the crowds. We have more stylists showing up. For the first ones here this morning, we already have a citation. People have told us this is $1,000. So at this point, you do it because it's right, not because of anything else. So our line is getting a little bit smaller with either there. I think we're just more spread out. I think we realized getting in the line on cement is kind of ridiculous. So they kind of divided us all up, thank goodness. But this is the end of Angela's line at the moment. We have some other stylists over here on our right. Carl's up on the stairs cutting here. Yes, over there, so we're getting her up. So it's not nearly as rough. No. So like I said, so basically, who thought we have to have a protest to get a haircut in their Michigan? This is the United States of America. This is not another country. We are the government, we are the free, and we are the home of the brave. And thank God that there are people willing to stand and open up and take that first step. Yesterday I posted a girl running into the water. She's the only one already standing. It's like, run out. There's nothing you can do if they can't get us all at once. And finally people did run out to the beach, into the water. It's like, think about the stupidity of some of these rules that we have during this illegal time. So here we got a couple more stylists, so we are pretty much getting pretty full here. And I'm gonna get back to Angela and you can watch her cut another head. Sorry, we're right by the speaker. What do you think, sweetie? All right, I'm gonna shut you off for a while, and thank you for joining us. We'll go on and on periodically through the day. Thanks so much. Here we have some hair. She probably feels like $1 million after she gets this on. Which part of it? All right. Talk to you later. Thank you for helping us and supporting us. Bye-bye.
So the government decided they needed to shut us down for the sake of our safety. They said phrases like, stay home, stay safe, or we're all in this together, which we know that's not the case. The government put themselves here, and they put us down here. And we know that it's actually supposed to be reversed, right? So when they shut down the economy, it was impossible to buy things like paint, flooring, lumber, mulch, even getting regular doctors and dentist appointments were deemed illegal and unessential. And here's what happens in schools. Restaurants were also shut down or takeout only, which we know the revolution was planned in the taverns. And that had been my case all along, is that the governor shut down these restaurants and meeting places, not for the sake of a pandemic, but for the sake of to control the patriots and keep the patriots apart. And that's just not possible, because we will find a way. We always find a way. Her orders expired April 30th. She then extended them without approval. And Operation Haircut took place May 20th, so that was well after the emergency order expired. She was supposed to get the legislative approval to extend that order, and she did. She acted alone. She's been acting alone since this entire pandemic started. I wanted to read Psalm 27. This hit me hard before I did my first haircut that day. I was shaking and I was actually pretty nervous. I had never been in trouble. I hadn't been caught. And I knew that we were going to get criminal charges against us, as the governor put out a press conference the night prior, telling the people of Michigan that she was very disappointed in our behavior. I know, right? Like you're my mother. Please. And she also had mentioned that no one had received a ticket for protesting as of yet, but she cannot promise that will continue. So you threatened me. You threatened me to be quiet. And we had a fair amount of hairstylists that then canceled. And I mean, they were scared, and I thought about it, I prayed about it, and I said, okay, I have to do this. I'm in it. I'm in it. I will not stand down. I will not settle. I'm in this, and I will stand up now, and I will not back down. Psalm 27, which is ironic because I'm born on the 27th day of October. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is my strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? So as soon as I said that in my mind, and I put on my armor of God, and then I went for it. And within 15 minutes, I had a state police officer approach me, tell me I had to stop, tell me this was an illegal occupation under the governor's executive orders. Illegal occupation, cutting hair. So I said, okay, thank you. And I turned around and said, excuse me, I'm in the middle of a haircut. And I finished my haircut. After operation, then I received the citation, and some really nice gentlemen came over and were confronting the officer as he gave me my citation. They were waving a copy of the Constitution in their face. And I thought, how wonderful is this? You took the oath to uphold the Constitution. You know that what the governor is doing is wrong. She has been a tyrant to our state. I then lost my job. I found out when I got back a couple weeks after Operation Haircut, I lost my job. I was told actually two different stories. I was told that they decided to only move forward with the full-time stylist. I rented my space, and I only worked 1 day a week. I have 4 children. I like to stay home with my children. And that was one excuse I heard from them. And then the other one is that the staff got together and voted me off as if it was like Survivor or something. They were afraid of my views. They were afraid of my anti-mask views and my anti-COVID views and my pro-freedom and pro-liberty views. If that's really the case, I don't want to work in that place anyway. So I found a new salon to work at. So everything is great. It's actually way better fit to begin with. And then I received in the mail a formal complaint against my license. The state of Michigan is trying to take my hair license away for performing this illegal occupation. And so again, we're fighting that as well. I was also denied my CPL license because the disorderly person, which is what I apparently am, prohibits me from getting the CPL license. In July, we had a Zoom hearing, and then the judge decided to postpone any further hearings on that after the Supreme Court came back with their ruling if the governor overstepped her bounds by extending the emergency order without legislature approval. And we know in the fall that they came back unanimous that she did overstep her bounds, which basically, like in simple terms, it would wipe out any of the prosecutions, fines, anything for any of the people that were civil disobedient after April 30th. So I thought it was free, but that wasn't the case. Then Dana Nessel decided that they were going to pursue these charges based on the fact that being civilly disobedient. So the Supreme Court ruled that the 1945 law regarding emergency powers were unconstitutional. Keep that in mind, that in November, in the election, we had lost our Supreme Court. So as scary as that is, if there was another case that came forward with a similar situation, the Supreme Court now could rule that the 1945 law is constitutional. So that law absolutely needs to just be repealed. It's still on the books. It's still on the books. The authority to declare the emergency orders without approval once again is what she did again. After the Supreme Court came down to their decision, our attorneys, the Coleman Group, filed a motion to dismiss, which was ignored by Dana Nessel and her office. So we go into another Zoom hearing in December, once again, then we were moved to February. February, we were called in person. So we showed up to court, and there was 6 of us. One woman actually fled Michigan. I say she fled Michigan, as if you would flee a communist country. She flew in from Tennessee for the hearing. We arrived at the courthouse, we were ready to go, and then we were barred from entering the courtroom. Barred, yes, and I was kind of got in the face of the guard, because I said, no, our paperwork says in person, we're in person. I said, do you see me? I'm right here in person. So this is what we're gonna do, and it didn't work. So the judge decided to dismiss the charges after the Attorney General failed to show up. In a later statement, the Attorney General said that she decided not to pursue our case. Well, thank you for letting us know ahead of time. That was really nice of you. So during this time, I've actually found myself reading the Declaration of Independence more than I probably have ever even looked at in my entire life. And the Declaration of Independence is quite clear. All men were created equal. So we're all essential. The government has no authority to label you essential, you non-essential. We're all essential. We were endowed with certain unalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So we can work, we can gather, and we know that the First Amendment had been trampled on terribly during the shutdown. We have the right to assemble. You have the right to assemble in a restaurant. They can't stop you. So why are we letting them? We have to stop letting them infringe on our rights. And the government derives their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's a huge one. That's absolutely huge. We didn't consent to this, so why are we doing it? Why are we wearing masks? Why are we doing this? It literally has to stop. Stop complying with these unjust orders, executive orders and mandate. They're not law. They were not voted on. They're not law. Educate everyone you know. Clearly our education system is failing if people don't know how a law was made. Patriots, we must identify our own calling, our path. We must find our voice. Every freedom-loving American has a role to play. From those exposing election fraud to running those for office, we need to fill every seat with every level with a Liberty candidate. We need to pack our school board meetings, filibuster our county commissioner meetings. We need to pressure our sheriffs to arrest these elected officials and any official, including the MDHHS official who has broken the law. And these people have committed treason. What's the punishment for treason? Apparently nothing now. Like, we can't go on this way. And the left has been relentless. Why are we as relentless as the left? Do we not have the same strong convictions and our own beliefs? Our constitutional rights have been violated numerous times, and we need to get these prosecutors to prosecute those who have violated those rights, instead of trying to jail barbers and restaurant owners. Any official who has not been sworn in needs to have their seat vacated immediately. And did you know out of all the counties, 84 or 83 counties in Michigan, only one MDHHS official director has been sworn in? That essentially means that all of those other offices should be vacated immediately. If you don't take the oath of office, it's vacant. And we have people in the state of Michigan right now working to make sure those people have taken their oath or they're booted from office. And I think that's fantastic. And we really need to do some soul searching on what are you willing to do for your freedom? What about your children's freedom and your grandchildren's freedom? We used to think that we were in this fight for our children. We are so far past that. Anything that we do today to fight for our country, our children won't even see the benefit yet. We're that far gone. Are you willing to fight? Are you willing to die for it? I for one am. I'm willing to fight and die for this, because this is the hill. Right now, this is the hill.
True.
Remember, a tiny rock can make a giant fall. And we went and protested January 6th. We protested everywhere, I have to say. We've been everywhere for a year. It's been crazy. So we decided to go to DC, not to demand the election be overturned or change anything. We went to DC to support America and our freedoms, and we need to send the message and let them see that they can't take our country away. They can try to take our country away in an election, but we'll take it back however we can. We were tear gassed in DC. Yeah, it was tear gassed, like 4 times. That's unbelievable. You know what we were doing? We were not in the Capitol. We were not fighting. We were not doing anything. We were chanting USA. And we were standing in the grass. There was a little half wall there, and I was standing on the wall for quite some time. And when the tear gas hit us, I jumped off the wall. And my first thought was to get out of here. And then one of my friends is yelling, hold the line, hold the line. And that hit me. We need to hold the line. And we turned around, ran right back into the tear gas, and we held the line, and we stayed there. And it was horrific. It was a horrific scene. And by horrific scene, I'm talking about how the media displayed it. Because from where we were, we saw people loving America. It was American flags everywhere, appeal to heaven flags. It was just an amazing feeling. So I expected something much different after we left DC. I didn't expect to be called an insurrectionist or a terrorist or even a treasonous. I have to say, I'm looking at things now, I consider all of those terms a compliment, because our founding fathers were called those very same names. So if you want to call me that, I'll take it. So, and I've protested so much in this past year that my GPS in my truck actually started directing me to Lansing. But I think that there's a reason for that. I'm thinking my Beagle is telling me, Angela, you need to go to Lansing. And so I'm announcing today that I'm running for State House Representatives for the 86th District. And I'd like to open up for questions. If anyone has any questions?
Did you get down to the Capitol when you were down in D.C.?
Did I what?
Get down to the Capitol.
We were at the Capitol, but we were not inside the Capitol. But we saw everything from where we were standing.
And that was the authorities that were releasing tear gas. We saw tear gas, but we thought it was just a smoke bomb or something.
No, it was the gas. It's actually illegal to use in war, but it's illegal to use on your own citizens here. Yeah.
So I have a question. Where was the legislature? What were they doing when the governor was extending her order? We would think that if she couldn't extend the order without legislative approval, where's the mission of the legislature based on this issue?
That's a good question. I do not know. I don't know. It's sad, really. Any more questions?
Do you have any thoughts on what the legislature has actually written on during 2020 as far as what they've done with the DHHS? And
I know that they've given authority to the DHHS to enforce the executive orders. So after Whitmer's orders everything was dismissed. And what a lot of people don't realize too is that Supreme Court case was against Gretchen Whitmer and the health department. So she was able to kind of go through the back door, kind of through the health department, and still continue on everything that she was doing by using the health department. And again, we allow it.
So where's your district at?
Caledonia, Kent County, Little Ionia County, Ada, Cascade, Lowell. So an hour and a half from here.
So, is your license still in jeopardy? Is that
Yes.
ongoing?
Yes, they've offered us 3 plea deals, and I have, us girls have declined every offer. It was a censure and a $500 fine, and then, 3 months later, they came back with a censure and a $500 fine, and then I said, that's the same deal. They'll stretch it out 3 more months and think you're gonna break us. And then a few months later, they came back with a $500 fine. We said no. No, so now we will go in front of the licensing board in a formal hearing. If they rule against us, which our attorneys are pretty sure that that's the case, then it'll move to circuit court. So, which is great. I hope they rule against us at this point. Just please, keep trying to take my license. The Constitution has no bearing in front of the board, which is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. We have to prove that we were taking part in a special event, which we were. But it was a protest. It was a protest, and we would like to argue, and we've been arguing this entire time, that it was our First Amendment rights that we were exercising. So I would like to see it go to the court, and then we can really hit it hard.
And how many are there in your class?
There were 7 of us. 6 of us are using David and Steve Coleman, just as Carl Nagy did. Another girl used them, Michigan Mackinac Center, and she actually had taken a plea deal. I believe she had gotten some probation and fines and stuff like that. So, but we're going all the way. We want it completely wiped out. So. Oh, yes, update on Marlena. Is everyone familiar with Marlena's Bistro?
No, tell
Oh.
the story.
You should be, you gotta look it up. This woman is amazing. Marlena Hackney, she is a Polish immigrant. Fled communism, came to the United States, opened a restaurant, and she had recognized right away that a lot of the policies that the government was bringing forth on the people due to the pandemic were communist-like. And she closed during the first closure, and then she said, okay, no more. She opened up, she received fines, threats, death threats even. And the judge in Allegan County issued an arrest warrant for her for running her restaurant. And she didn't follow the mandates. You wear a mask if you want, it should be your choice. If you don't want to go to a packed restaurant, don't go to a packed restaurant. It should be your choice. And it should be your choice as a business owner to run your business how you see fit. So she did go to jail. She ended up going to jail. They arrested her at 5:50 in the morning. Unmarked state police officers followed her from her home to work. And she was terrified. She actually turned around and fled and tried to get back home because she didn't quite understand what was about to take place, and she was fearful. She served 4 days in jail at Ingham County, which she lives in Allegan. So it doesn't make any sense. She had a constitutional lawyer, Rick Martin, who never claimed to be a barred attorney. The paperwork that he filled out for the court for the motion to appear, he listed himself as assistance to counsel. As soon as we got in the courtroom, they arrested him. They arrested him for fraud. The judge treated him terribly. I mean, look it up. The judge was saying things like, this isn't Burger King, you can't have it your way. And Marlena was shackled, by the way, shackled. She had bruises on her head, she had bruises everywhere from shackles for serving breakfast. It's insanity. So the restaurant's closed. They actually boarded up. Dana Nessel said that they would release Marlena from jail if she could prove that her restaurant was to remain closed and paid a fine of $7,500. But there was no bail and no bond issued. So no bond for a restaurant owner. It's absolutely, it's madness. So they just filed an appeal and filed for a refund of all the fines. When they went to pay the $7,500, they ended up charging them $15,000. So they just doubled the fine for I don't know what reason. So she's had a long fight ahead of her. Look her up. There's a GoFundMe for her legal fees, And she's a strong woman, and she's refusing to back down. So we definitely need to reach out to people like that and support them.
Sorry for my hearing, I couldn't quite make out her name, Marlena.
Oh, Marlena Hackney.
Hackney.
Yes, that's correct. Or you can just search Marlena's Bistro, and you'll get pages and pages of stuff. Yeah.
The organization I'm affiliated with, National Liberty Alliance, they would believe that you would have to take your case, a constitutional case, to the federal courts where they're there for life and not where they're elected in the states. But I don't know, that's what they believe. You'd have a better chance at the federal level than the state.
There was a federal prosecutor on the Zoom call the other day when Rick Martin was released from jail. Myself and a friend of mine actually went to the jail and picked him up. But I don't understand the whole legality of any of that. It's quite confusing. I don't know what exactly he's facing now either, but he was in jail for 30 days with no bond, no bail.
Angela, I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she actually even get like a body cavity search?
Yes, she did.
And do you know any justification for that?
I don't know.
No, okay. It's an awkward thing, but honestly, body cavity.
It is awkward. It's so awkward. And to look at her, she's the sweetest, most innocent woman ever, but she's also tough as nails and strong in her convictions and her beliefs, and she knows what being an American is, and she takes pride in that. But yeah, she was shocked about that, and the sexual abuse video she had to watch, and it was just, yeah, they treated her like a hardened criminal, for sure. Oh, sorry.
The district office that you're in, the assembly office and the local office you're running for, the number area that you're in, and what time is the election?
It's the 86th State House. The primary is next year, August 2nd. So I'm ahead of the game. I'm waiting for the establishment to put up their candidate, because that'll be fun.
I just have a question. I just want to honor you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank
I feel that your story is not going to be unique to us in the future.
Yep.
And I admire your courage and your grit and your determination, because there's going to be times when we're going to have to decide where our line is and when we're going to hold that line.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you reconciled, except for maybe scriptures and prayer and God, to be able to say that you, even if your kids are affected by this and your family, how you're going to hold that line, because it's one story when it's just you, but when it starts to affect our children and our family, those are going to be really tough. And I really appreciate that there are others that can stand as examples to help the rest of us, because it's not going to be too far in the future where we're going to be experiencing what you are. And sometimes I question my determination and faith and grit to do what you're doing, so I just honor that. And I don't know how you're handling the emotional part of how you keep holding on when it becomes bigger and your children become affected.
Thank you. My family's very supportive, and I have 4 sons, 17, 15, 11, and 4. And my oldest sons, they're so supportive. They help me if they need to watch the little one. They watch the little one for me. They understand. And when they haven't been in school in over a year, I pulled them out of school because of the mask mandates. But when they were in school before, they were fighting in school for some of these same things against the LBGQT. I don't know, I'm sorry. I should know it. It's being forced on us so much. I can't remember the letters, but they're being forced that in school. They're being forced critical race theory in school. I mean, they're on the forefronts. They're in the fight every single day, and they love it. And I'm so grateful that they love it, because they're educating other kids their age. And my husband is a great support, although it's hard because he doesn't cook dinner. So if I'm not home, then I try to make something ahead of time or whatever. But that's kind of their biggest struggle, is like the home cooked meal every night. But I try not to do more than 3 things a week. you have to find a balance, and sometimes the balance is hard, and sometimes everyone just needs to understand, we're working as a team, but I'm going out in the field. You know, God is using me as a vessel, and you are my support, and we need to do this together. Otherwise, if we don't do it together, we'll fail. And that goes as a movement in whole. Like, if we don't all do this together and stand up, we'll fail.
Is there a website that gives any collective information on yourself and Marlena and others? And also have the powers that be attack your husband at all to try to get to you?
No, my husband's been fine. Yeah, he's been fine, so he has not been affected at all in his workplace at all. The company that he works for is a conservative-owned company. And yeah, so I've heard nothing but positive feedback from his employees and such. And as far as the website, I do a lot of Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm not leaving Facebook. Well, I don't think that we should surrender it. And as far as Marlena, she's on Facebook as well, but there's a lot of news stories on her right now. A lot of news stories. She had been on Tucker Carlson and different things, so if you can stay up to date there. I wouldn't necessarily go to the Holland Sentinel newspaper because they're like out to get her. But I don't have a website yet.
Yeah, I just didn't make it fun to tell your husband that, you know, real men can cook.
He can grill. In fact, yeah, the kids prefer his burgers over mine, but you know, he can't grill all winter. So, yeah, thank you.
I'm a contractor in Utah, and one of the things that has always bothered me is the contracting license laws that, you know, they require us to have a license to be able to conduct business. And those need to be done away with. There's no need for a license to be able to contract or anything.
I agree.
So that's something, an interesting thing. I have a neighbor that moved in, and he is actually the head of the Department of Licensing in Utah. When you get a letter from the Department of Licensing, his name is the head. I think he's second in line. But anyway, he's one of the top leaders in the licensing department. He called me up, and he'd only been in his home less than a year, and he said, "Hey, can you come look at my house? I've got some problems with some of the things that are not, you know, they're coming apart." So I went over and looked at it, and he, you know, showed me some things, and he said, "Can you have these, you know, could you fix these for me?" And I said, "Well, Mark, I can fix them, but you should have your contractor do it. It's still under warranty. It's, you know, you have a year's warranty on them. Why just call him back?" And he said, "I don't want to talk to my contractor again." He said that's just been the worst experience I've ever had. He said, "I checked every subcontractor that came in and worked on my home, make sure that they were licensed and in good standing when they did the work on my home." But he named, you know, the electrician, the plumber, the concrete guy, and all these people that their work was falling apart. And I said to him, "Well, are the people still in good standing at the state?" And he said, "Well, technically, yes, because they can't, one complaint doesn't, you know, do anything." And it's just such a sham that people think, and I get people asking me that sometimes, "Are you a licensed contractor?" And I, "Well, yes, but what does that mean?" You think that if I have a license, that makes me a good builder? You need to do a little research, and we've surrendered our common sense and, you know, due diligence to find out when we're conducting business, you know, we're letting the state tell us that they're a good person, which is just a total joke. So licensing is a joke that needs to be done away with anyways.
I agree. I would rather see the licensing turned over to the industries. And yeah, licensing is a sham. Licensing is you purchasing your right to do your job from the government. Well, the government doesn't own your job. The government doesn't own your industry, so why are they dictating that, okay, you are allowed to do this? No, I will do this.
It's between me and you, not.
Yeah, it should, exactly. Yeah, it is a scam, and we spend so much money on licensing, so much money. But on a positive note, the state of Michigan did discount my license when I renewed it for the shutdown. So that was mighty generous, mighty generous. So, So, what they did know is I was doing black market hair the whole time anyway, making a fortune, so.
As you know, nobody else raised their hand, so I just wanted to stand up here and say thank you. And I can't thank you enough, and I've said it multiple times to you and other people. I just want to thank you for your stand, I want to thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
We're behind you, the Michigan U.S. Taxpayers Party is with you. Anything we can do to help you along and to support you, let us know. And one question I did want to ask you, you've been in this for a long time. How do you keep your sanity and be so determined and enduring for this amount of time? What do you do? How does it work?
Well, at the end of the day, I kind of shut myself in my room and I pray and I watch historical shows, like historical documentaries, anything in the Revolutionary War. I look at these people and their courage and what they stood for, and it takes me back a little bit, and I really pray about it, and I just say, God, use me, where do you want me to go? And what words do you want me to say? And then all this, like my brain just, yeah, it's amazing. And I give the discernment, I think I spoke about that last year, hearing the Holy Spirit, seeing certain things, and what really upsets me about actually, this is not a war that we're in between Republicans and Democrats. Who cares about Republicans and Democrats? It's America or not America. It's God and Satan. It's not hard. It's not, where do you stand? You can't stand in the middle. It is black or white. Stop pretending you can be in the gray. You'll die in the gray, just as you will die with Satan. So we have to